Well, the fledgling DA coalition in the Johannesburg Council, some are saying, is now beginning to crumble. Speaker Vasco da Gama was removed yesterday. 136 councillors, I beg your pardon, not yesterday, the day before. 136 councillors, including those allied to the DA, voted for the motion of no confidence. So where does this leave the Democratic Alliance in Joburg Council? Let's find out how it's all going to work now with the Gauteng leader for the DA, Solly Msimanga, joining us this morning. Mr. Msimanga, good to have you on eNCA. We're going to talk about the way forward now. No doubt it's been a busy 48 hours for the DA in Gauteng. First of all, talk to me about reports of DA members voting for Vasco da Gama to be removed as Speaker. What's the thinking there? Do you think DA members turned on their own?
No, absolutely not. I can tell you without any shade of doubt that there's no DA member that voted for a motion to remove Vasco da Gama. It was a vote by show of hands. So we know exactly who didn't vote with us. We've had a coalition technical committee meeting that took place yesterday. We have raised this matter with the involved parties and they've vowed to take action because these are incidents that are coming from rogue councillors who decided that it is now rumored, and actually we now have a few affidavits that confirm that there were people that were given money to vote against, Vasco da Gama to be removed. So this is things that we are now taking action on, and different parties are going to be making announcements very soon.
Wouldn't that then fall under political fraud and corruption as well? If you're hearing rumours and reports, and I'm sure everyone's going to start looking into this now that you've mentioned it, as well, is people being paid to take out powerful political positions. I mean, this is corruption, isn't it?
Well, that's what we want to happen. We want this to be shown that there are people who are not really interested in power so that they're able to serve the people, but there are people who are interested in parties that are interested in power, just because they want power and they want to come through the back door. And this is why we do now have affidavits. We are now comparing what we have and what other parties' own members have been telling their own leaders, and therefore we will then, in a couple of days, make announcements. I'm sure you will see there will be changes in certain instances of people being removed as councillors because of their conduct and because of their association and trying to bring in the ANC through the back door.
Let's talk coalitions for a minute, because they can be very messy, can't they? Because I see the IFP and ACDP probably going to take action against some of their party members who voted in favour of having Vasco da Gama removed as well. And that's got to be concerning for you, Mr. Msimanga. I'm sure that when coalition partners are not able to whip their members into shape and they turn on you, it doesn't bode well for future coalition discussions.
Well, it doesn't, but the comfort that we take from this is that we had a meeting on Monday with all the party leaders across the coalition spectrum. It was guaranteed, and it was also assured of all the parties that everybody was on board. And what happened then on Tuesday was something that really bemused everybody that was participating, or who had participated in the meeting before. And this is why the leaders of different parties have decided and have taken this stance that they are going to take action against members. Dennis Bloom of COPE came out guns blazing. Because it is rumored that the councillor there is actually the main coordinator. And this is somebody that, had been part of the coalition and had been part of the leading of the multi-party caucus in this particular instance, and had actually then gone against the coalition agreement. And this is why action is going to be taken against such members.
Let's talk about that action for a moment. Obviously, it's always interesting talking to political party leaders and members. They don't always want to talk about other political parties and how they internally work when it comes to taking action. But I see ACDP leader Kenneth Mashwe saying councillors supporting the motion essentially betrayed trust, and action will be taken against them as well. Is that the way our politics should be handled now? That if even if you belong to a political party, if you don't support what the party is doing, you better believe you're going to be in big trouble. Is that what open, free and democratic politics in our country looks like?
No, not necessarily. But what needs to happen is that we have created channels within that if there are any kind of grievances, those channels can then be used to then ventilate, the dissatisfactions or any issue that you feel that need addressing. We have three sectors that we have created through the coalition since the beginning of this new term of the council. We have what we call the local coalition management committee, which comprises of all councillors who sit in a different municipality or sit in municipal level. Then we have what we call the technical committee. That is comprising of leaders within the provinces or coordinators within the provinces, and you have what we call the COG. The COG is the coalition oversight group, which consists of all the party leaders that are able to then get together. And there are systems, and all councillors have been actually taken through a training session, if you like, in terms of how do you then engage and how do you then raise issues and how do you then, if there are disputes, how do you then get to resolve disputes from different levels. Therefore, it is very much suspicious that somebody who have never raised an issue on a particular matter comes an opportunity to then vote on a day and then decides that they're going to vote against a coalition and then come afterwards and then cite things that they've never really raised before. And this is why we suspect that there could be there could be briberies that have taken place. There could be some kind of betrayal that has really been taking place here. And in fact, one of the councillors has been rumored to have never been left the ANC, even if after joining another party, and the party is actually now investigating that and will be taking action against that particular individual.
Just as I leave you with my last question, Mr. Msimanga, as well, we need to now kick the tin a little bit further down the road. There's going to be lots of these caucus meetings and behind closed doors, but in the end, a new Speaker of Joburg Council has to be chosen and done so expediently as well, because voted in by the city of Johannesburg, residents want work to be done. What is the plan? Do you have someone at the top of your list, and who is that?
Well, we still have to go back and engage with the coalition team, but the idea was that Vasco shouldn't have been removed in the first instance, and if it means that we have to retain Vasco as the Speaker of Council, we will do that. We will make sure that the numbers are there. The numbers are what they're supposed to be in order to nominate and make sure that a speaker that is coming from the multi-party coalition is actually reinstated into the rightful position. Then we can then stabilize the legislative part of that council and then continue with the work that Mpho Palazzi and the team have started doing in that particular municipality.
And so, forgive me, I'm actually going to squeeze in one more brief question, if you don't mind, Mr. Msimanga. Ahead of 2024, of course, there's talk that if the ANC, I said this earlier in terms of an hour talking, there's a suspicion if the ANC continues to drop numbers at the rate that they did local government elections, we could see a national coalition government, if not 2024, certainly the next elections as well. This looks very messy. Imagine if this was a national government behaving in this way. It's not going to build much trust for a multi-party coalition national government, is it?
Well, that's why we're glad that we're having these things right early on while we're still putting together coalitions, because I can tell you coalitions are going to be the future of South Africa. In Gauteng, come 2024, you can best believe that there is going to be a coalition government that is going to be here in Gauteng. And in a few other municipalities, that are going to require coalition in order for them to form some kind of government. And therefore, we are now doing what we are doing now better than we did in 2016 to 20 2021, where we now have, coalition processes written down, the agreements written down, and parties actually signing and being signatories to this agreement in order to hold each other to account, but also in order to make sure that we don't have messy, relationships and processes going forward. And I can tell you right now, we are going to be showing South Africa that this is the way to go as we resolve some of the problems that have raised in the last couple of days, and also be able to then communicate what we are going to do about those that really want to jeopardize the program of running, a smooth coalition government across municipalities, and also building up towards 2024. So
I certainly hope so, for the sake of all residents in Johannesburg and the country as well. That is certainly going to be the case. That is the hope for the entire voting population. I appreciate your time. DA Gauteng Leader Solly Msimanga joining us this morning. Long chat with Mr. Msimanga about what's going to now happen moving forward and what their reaction has been to the ousting of Council Speaker Vasco da Gama.